garden friends. I am out here in the UF garden with Miss Jessica, and we're going to go over your next science kit. So today we are going to be working with kit number 4, and I have my materials. I already took them out of the envelope. So when you take your materials out of your envelope number 4, the first thing you're going to see is an instruction sheet, and at the top it should say overall plant parts. If you pull something out and it says something different, you might have the wrong kit. So just double check and make sure the top says overall plant parts, and that's what we're going to start with. So we have a couple of activities that are different for our TK through 1st graders and our 2nd through 5th graders. I'm going to show you some of both so that everybody has a good idea of what we're doing. So the first thing you need to do, everybody in every grade, is you're going to get your science journal out. You're going to open it to a clean page. You're going to get a pencil, or I know some of our older kids like to use those erasable pens. That's fine. I do like you to use something with an eraser, just because that gives you a little more flexibility and keeps your science book neat, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is write the date at the top of the paper. Miss Jessica, I think it's the September 18th. Is
you
that
got
right?
it. 9/18.
Okay. 9/18/20. So I'm going to write the date on the paper so that I know when I did this project. And then if you are TK through 1st grade, you're going to find that you have a parts of a flower page that looks like this. So what you can do, you have 2 options here. If you want handwriting practice, you can write the words in these little squares. If you want practice using scissors, you can cut the words out on the dotted lines and you can glue them down. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to tell you, the other things you'll want while you're doing this kit, you'll want some scissors and you'll want a glue stick, or the regular white glue is fine, but glue sticks I think are usually easier to use. So for my TK through 1st graders, we can cut these little words out, and we're going to work on identifying the parts of our plants. These are my garden scissors. I didn't get my regular scissors.
They're working great.
Right? Okay, so I'm just going to do one to show you for an example. We're going to go through the parts. Our words are soil, roots, leaves, stem, sun, and petals. So we're going to figure out which word goes to which item. So I can look up here and see this right here, and I know that's the sun, and it's important for plants to be able to grow. It helps them with a process called photosynthesis. Can you say that word? It's a big one. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis.
Good job. So I know that the word sun goes up here. So if I want writing practice, I could write the word sun right there. If you prefer to do cutting and gluing, let's see, I'm going to look at my plant. I have the word stem cut out. These are petals, right? So I'm not going to glue stem here because I know these are petals, and here's my petals down here. This right here, and on this side too, those are my leaves. So that's this word here that starts with a big L, leaves. Here we go, I found the stem. So that's where I'm going to glue my stem word. I gotta roll the glue up. There we go. All right. And I'm going to glue stem right there. And then down here, if I continue down the stem, the part of my plant that goes underground is called roots. So here's roots. It starts with a big R. And then the part of the plant, it's sort of technically not part of the plant, but it's necessary for a plant to grow. This is the soil. So here's the word soil. It starts with a big S. So you can write or cut and paste the word soil there. Now, after you've done all of your writing or cutting and pasting of words, you can have fun coloring this part of the flower page. Okay?
Could they glue that into their journal?
That's a great idea. So you could take this, when you're all done with it, you could take it and you could glue it into your journal.
Oh, I like how you
just
folded that like that.
Fold it like that, And there you go. Then it's in your science journal and all your garden work is in one place. Thanks for reminding me about that, Miss Jessica. Okay, so for my older students, so if you're in 2nd through 5th grade, you're going to have a diagram that looks like this. And it's having you label the parts of a flower. So we have a word bank right up here, and the parts we're learning are stigma, pistil, stamen, petal, ovules, sepal, and stem. These are the reproductive parts of a flower. So you are going to take your pencil or your erasable pen and you're going to go through and you're going to label your flower. Now, you might not be sure. I know we've done this in garden at least last year and maybe the year before. So you may remember all of your parts. But if you're not sure, follow along and we'll see if Miss Jessica and I can do this. So
They could probably research too, couldn't they?
that's true.
Because upper grades know how to do research. They could research parts of a flower.
Parts of a flower. And I will say that there are more detailed diagrams too. So you might find a really detailed diagram if you searched on Google that will have more parts than your diagram has. And
I
that's
think
great.
they can do that.
If you want to draw and add that in, that would be great.
Cool.
So you're going to label the parts of your flower. And again, once you're done with the labeling, you're welcome to color it in. The interesting thing about this is it tells you the reproductive parts. So we remember the sticky stigma, that's right here in the middle. The sticky stigma is what catches the pollen. So that would be the female reproductive part. And then over here, this is the pistil. And that is what produces pollen right there, this part. And the pollen is the male reproductive part of a flower. So as you all know, pollination happens by a variety of ways, right? We've got our pollinators, wind, water, animals, people. And so what happens is the pollen of a plant gets on the stigma, and then that pollen travels down this tube to this other female reproductive part. This is called the ovule. And there it connects, the pollen and the ovule combine, and that's what produces a seed. Okay, so there's the 2nd through 5th grade diagram. Now, let's see.
And 2nd through 5th graders should also glue this into their science journal.
Definitely.
So everything's all
Just
together.
Glue it right in.
Because I know Mr. Moores and I will be collecting science journals.
Awesome. And hopefully we'll be able to reuse these next year. Although if you fill yours up, if you have so much work that you fill yours up, we can get you a new one. All right, so the next part that we're going to do, TK through 1st graders are going to have this chart. And the 2nd page has vegetables and fruits to cut out and glue on the 1st page. So this chart is labeled parts of a plant we eat. And there are 6 main parts of a plant that we eat. We eat seeds, we eat roots, we eat stems, we eat leaves, we eat flowers, and we eat fruit. So for my younger students, we have this cutout and glue project. So for example, I am going to look at this celery and I'm going to try and think, what part of the plant do I think celery might be? Does it look like a seed? I don't think that looks like a seed. And I know that it's not a root because roots grow beneath the ground and the celery stalk grows above the ground. Now there are some leaves at the tip and you can eat those, but the main part of the celery that we eat is classified as a stem. So I would glue this right here under my stems. Where'd my glue go? Now for 2nd through 5th graders, what you're going to do is you're going to copy this chart into your science notebook. So you can do it, portrait is what this is called in printing terminology, and this is landscape. So you can do it either direction. I feel like it might fit nicely if you do it landscape. So you can use a ruler if you want to make it really, really neat. or you can just freehand. You're going to build this chart in your science notebook.
And will that picture the parts of a plant we eat, will that be posted on in the lesson?
I will make sure that that is included in the lesson so that everybody has an example. Or what I might do actually is include a picture of my
Sure.
version of it.
Sure.
Either way, so that you don't have to remember from the video if you're just watching the video and you're going to do the lesson a little bit later. That way you don't have to remember, oh, what were the 6 parts that I was supposed to draw. You're just going to make a nice chart here with your header row, and then you're going to label it. So whenever you're making a table or a chart, it's going to need some kind of labels. So I'm going to just do words, but if you would prefer to draw a picture, or you want to draw a little picture as well as write the words, you have that option. So this is something I find really interesting about the food we eat. We eat all of these different types of parts of the plant. And you may not think about it when you're eating, you know, you make dinner, or mom makes dinner, grandma makes dinner, dad makes dinner, whoever cooks at your house, right? And you just eat the food. You don't necessarily think about, where did the food come from? What part of the plant is it? So I'd like to invite you to think about that maybe for the next week when you are having a meal with your family. Think about what you're eating and see if you can identify what part of the plant are you eating. Now obviously some things aren't plants, right? A lot of people eat dairy products or meat products, and so those aren't actual plants, but they are supported by plants, because if you're going to have a hamburger, well, what does the cow that hamburger came from eat? It eats grass, right? And maybe some hay, I'm not totally sure. So even the animals that you eat, or the dairy products you eat, those are all supported by plants. We couldn't manage without plants. So I would like my older students to just brainstorm ideas with their family. Maybe you can get on a Google Meet with a friend and chat about, what are some seeds we eat? I think we eat sunflower seeds, right? Pumpkin seeds, chia seeds.
Pinto beans.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Beans, when you're eating dried
Frijoles,
beans,
yeah.
those are all seeds.
Yeah.
So those can go in your seeds column. What are some roots we eat? I think one of the most common is probably carrots, right? Radishes, beets, onions, garlic. And then stems. Stems sometimes can be a little bit harder. The example that we have for the TK through first grade project, it gives us celery and it gives us asparagus as an example of stems. But again, brainstorm ideas and see if you can identify, what is this? Leaves. So some leaves we eat are lettuce, kale, chard, cilantro, parsley, basil. And then flowers. This is always a fun one because people think, or a lot of people, my garden students probably know because we've talked about this a lot, right? There are flowers that we eat. Now, sometimes I literally mean it looks like a flower. Like you can eat the nasturtium flower, you can eat the borage flower. But think about broccoli. In the next video, we're going to go on a hunt and I'm going to show you the broccoli. And it's actually the flower that we're eating of the broccoli and the cauliflower and the romanesco. We eat the flower part of that plant. And then the fruit. It's kind of funny. Sometimes people think, oh, a fruit is a strawberry or an apple. But botanically, other things that we think of as vegetables, like a tomato, that's a fruit. Peas, when you eat the pea in the pod, like a snow pea or a snap pea, that's technically the fruit of the plant. So even though don't be limited to what you think of as a fruit when you're classifying this, because the fruit of a plant in a botanical sense is what it produces that humans and animals can eat. Let's see, I'm going to check my list and make sure I didn't forget anything that I wanted to go over with you. Okay. Yeah. So again, I just want to remind my 2nd through 5th grade students, if you would rather draw pictures, particularly the 2nd graders, I think if you're more comfortable drawing pictures, or if you want to draw pictures and write the names, that's great. Try to fill up your chart, ask for help. Maybe you have an adult that's really great at gardening, or maybe they're just interested in doing the project with you and helping you learn. That would be great. And I'm gonna do another video in just a minute, so make sure you watch part 2. This is part 1.